Hey everyone, this is Shatojon, and here's another 0.9 devlog for you. In the last devlog, I went over the new crafting system that we introduced in the 0.9 update. In this devlog, I'm going to talk to you guys about another new feature that we added to the 0.9 update, which is called the Words. Now, the Words are magical devices that are made out of iron ingots and brimstone, and there's 5 different words, and each of them has a different purpose. The very first one I want to talk to you guys about is the Pylon. To understand what the Pylon does, you need to know that some words need energy in order to be activated, in order to actually work. And they get that energy from either your home crystal or from any shard that you've captured on the map. Now, if a word is too far away from one of your crystals in order to sap energy from it, you can power it up by linking it with pylons. So basically, pylons can act as a form of extension cord. You start building them next to your home crystal, and then you link them up all the way to the word you want to power up. Pylons can also be built on walls, by the way. They don't need to be placed on the ground. The next word I want to talk to you guys about is the healing word. And the healing word does pretty much exactly what you would think it does, thanks to its name. It regenerates the health of nearby brictrons. So you probably want to place those next to a choke point that your knights are defending so they can last longer in the fight. Or maybe if you're making an outpost really far away from your base and you want it to be easier to defend, you can place a healing ward there so units that are defending that outpost can get back into the fight really quickly. Healing wards do need to be powered up. So let's say you're playing in Conquest PvP, for example, and the bad guys have a healing ward that is close to your base maybe, and they're harassing you with their units and then healing them and then coming back to harass you with them. Maybe you should try to focus on destroying the grid of pylons, the line of pylon that's powering up the healing ward, not just the healing ward, because if you only destroy the healing ward, they're just going to place another one there, and it'll be as if you hadn't done anything. But if you destroy a line of pylon, if you break the chain of power, they're going to have to fix that chain of energy before they can have a functioning healing ward there. Also, by the way, in multiplayer, a healing ward is going to heal allied brictrons even if they're not yours, as long as they're on the same team as you. Now, the next word I want to talk about is the lantern. So the lantern can be placed either on the ground or on walls, and is going to cast a light around it, but it's also going to dissipate the fog of war in a radius around it. Now, you don't need to power up the lantern, but if you do decide to power it up, because you can, it's going to shine a lot brighter at night, and the radius of fog of war that it removes around it is going to be much wider, so you're going to be able to see a lot farther around the lantern through the fog of war. Now, another word, the capture word. So if you build a capture word next to a shard, it's basically just going to capture that shard, and the shard becomes yours. And when a shard is yours, it starts generating blue wisps over time and sends them to your home crystal. Now, in case you don't know, at the top left of your screen, there's a progress bar. It's yellow. And as you get blue wisps, that progress bar gets filled up. And once it's completely full, the blue wisps turn into a yellow wisp, and you can use that yellow wisp to actually spawn a bricktron. So this is super important, both in single player and multiplayer. You have to keep your upkeep of bricktrons growing. I mean, sorry, you have to keep getting more and more bricktrons, otherwise you're not going to be able to defend your base as your enemies get stronger. A few things you need to know about capture words. First of all, they take their energy from the shard that you're trying to capture. So just build them near the shards you want to capture. You don't need to make long snakes of pylons from your home crystal all the way to the capture word. Just build a capture word there and it's going to capture it. However, they're very expensive and very easy to destroy. So I really recommend that you make some defenses around the shard you're trying to capture before you place the capture word there. In the same idea, if you're playing Conquest PvP and you see that your enemy built a capture word and didn't defend it, go and destroy the capture word so that the shard gets neutralizes and it stops generating blue wisps for your enemy. Finally, one of the most important words is the Sentinel word. And the Sentinel is a stationary structure that's going to start firing at nearby enemies automatically. And it's sort of like a turret. And what it does is that as soon as it spots an enemy, it starts shooting red projectiles at it that seek it out. So you don't have to worry about it missing its target or anything like that. It's like homing missiles, except instead of missiles, it's red magical projectiles because we're playing Castle Story. The Sentinel does need energy to work, however, and you have to be careful because after a few seconds of shooting consecutively, it's going to overheat and it's going to need a few seconds to cool down before it can fire again. So it doesn't completely replace your archers. It's only something to help. Also, a quick tip, some wards can be built on walls, like the lantern and the pylon, but other walls can only be placed on flat horizontal surfaces, and the Sentinel is one of them. So if you decide to place sentinels on top of your walls, which is perfectly logical, you have to be sure not to block the way for your archers or any other unit that wants to travel on top of your wall, because they can't walk through sentinels. A little tip I can give you is to use stone arches and put the sentinel on the tip of the stone arch so the units can walk on the backside of the arch. Also, let's say you're playing in PvP Conquest and your enemy has a billion sentinels lining up on the wall that you want to attack. A good way of approaching a defense like that is to set your knights in defensive mode, because when they're in defensive mode, they're a lot less prone to ranged damage, and since sentinels are ranged damage, they're very resistant to it. Also, all the damage that they receive, all the ranged damage, sorry, that they receive while in defensive mode is going to have to go through their stamina before it reaches their health. So it's a really good way of basically you approach the enemy sentinels with your knights who are in defensive mode, and once the sentinels go on cooldown, then you can move in with the rest of your knights and your archers and take out your enemy. Finally, a little shout out to the fact that we completely redesigned our homepage and news page on castlestory.net. One of the things the redesign does is that it makes it a lot easier to spot the updates, but it also brings a lot more attention to the community spotlight. So you should definitely go there and check out the cool Castle Story content that other players have made. Also, if you made something Castle Story related that you think is really sweet and should be featured on our homepage, send it to us, and who knows, we might feature it on our homepage. So, tell us what you think about the words in the comments below, or even better, come on Discord at castlestory.net/Discord and talk directly to us, the devs. We hang out on there, and tell us what you like about the 0.9 update. I'll put a link to the Discord in the description below. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a spectacular day.